So in the early 70s, Dad was working on a book that emerged as the Broad Atlantic, um, which the content of which straddled North America and the UK. Uh, Slightly strange conception because he'd never been to North America. He never went to North America, but there were some subjects in here which had enthused him, and he carefully researched, um, and writing uh, on subjects about places that only existed in the poet's mind. But there were some very, very English, classically English uh, scenes in here as well, including the poem called "The Pea Pickers." And "The Pea Pickers" uh, was first published in 1973 in a magazine, but was written, or at least started being written on a train journey in the 1960s. Uh, Dad, as part of his work for the Ministry of Education, had to travel from London to Peterborough for a meeting. Now, I have no idea why, but I was with him for that day. It must have been in school holidays. Um, uh, my sister was probably with Mum, and Dad had said yes, he could take me for the day. And so we got on the train and we went north up to this meeting in Peterborough. And on the journey on the way north, the train stopped, and uh, there were people working in the fields that you could see from the train. And uh, I asked, as I always did, "So what's going on? What's happening? Why is the train stopped? Uh, what are the people doing?" And they were picking peas, hand picking peas, and that was really all I thought about it. Then on the train journey home, my dad was just lost in himself with a piece of paper, and he's roughing out the, the first lines of this poem that became "The Pea Pickers." Here we are. Travelling north, a glazed afternoon in June. The train slowed and stopped, Lincolnshire, and men and women picking peas in flat, hot fields. I watched them in their bended silence, a few minutes or so, moving forwards in ragged lines from row to row beneath a huge unbroken sky. Pea pickers. They wore the same grey faces as their ancestors, prisoners of the land who worked these meadows, all weathers, fingers in frost, rain whipping bowed backs, from turnip hoeing to barley time. Bonneted grandmothers, babies humped in hedges, long pinafored with wooden dolls from Peterborough Fair. The signal dropped. We started up again. They did not notice it, continued following the sun, locked in the solitude of timelessness. I thought of Claire, soaked through with dew, picking with them, first light of sundown, the poems in his wild eyes, lonely for love, and Cobbett, caustic and critical, riding these fields, stuffed his head with figures and facts. But most of the great cycle of the years, morning at seed time, starlight at harvest, peas planted, butterfly flowers, tangles of tendrils, pods swelling, haulm withering to death. And if by chance, this time next year, I should come this way, these old acres would be new again with peas, pickers still dumb and stooping there, patiently moving forward, baskets crammed, the self-same rhythm, season after season, life, death, and resurrection. Now, it's an interesting poem because, like so much of what Dad wrote, it's inspired by something, but it is the poet's imagining. It is not an exact photographic picture of an occasion that took place. It touches in there references to others. The Claire is not a girl's name. That's John Clare, the shepherd poet from Northamptonshire. And amongst Dad's library, he proudly held a first edition of the Shepherd's Calendar by John Clare. William Cobbett, the 18th century chronicler of agriculture, riding the fields and noting down statistics. And we have the starting point of a scene in a field next to a railway train. And we take that through and we end up with the self-same rhythm, season after season, life, death, and resurrection. So I put it to you, only a poet can get from one to the other.